Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today.
Nice job.
Seriously, dude, you're not supposed to have e-bikes on this thing.
This is a handicap piece of equipment.
And
And what?
show me the rules saying that you're allowed to do this.
You're serious? Who are
Yeah.
you?
Come on, buddy. You're breaking the rules at the park. You
It's
know
a
the rules.
handicap piece of equipment. I can't walk.
You should have led with that.
He did lead with that.
I said it. Is this your husband? Class act, brother. You're a class act.
You guys are a class act. You know the rules.
Class
The rules are
act.
They
I
allow
mean,
you
you're-
to be there, bro.
God, dude.
Everyone's on a motorbike.
Wow. Class act.
What a spectacular douchebag. Welcome to the Sunday Sum Up, folks, and we're just getting started. So first, I actually want to talk a little bit about several stories involving Jeff Bezos, because they're all just kind of ridiculous, and I just wanted to quickly sum them all up. For starters, the Senate in the US is preparing a $10 billion bailout for Jeff Bezos' firm Blue Origin, which again he owns entirely. And I'll remind everyone, Jeff Bezos has like $172 billion. They're preparing a bailout because his company, Blue Origin, lost in a NASA bid to SpaceX, I think. So the free market decided, and the Senate is saying, oh, no, but don't worry. Here, you'll get $10 billion. No worries. And then, of course, like a day or two later, the news came out that Amazon was buying MGM Studios, which has properties like James Bond and the Rambo films, which ultimately means that Jeff Bezos is getting, after all these expenses, if the bailout goes through, he's basically getting $1.5 billion free from the government and also comes away with a major studio. But that's not all. Jeff Bezos also recently purchased a super yacht that is so big, it needs its own yacht. He bought a 417-foot super yacht that is so massive it has its own support yacht with a helipad, according to Bloomberg News that first reported on this. And the estimated cost, not including this, little yacht to support the big yacht, is at least $500 million. But yeah, no, Jeff Bezos and Blue Origin totally need a bailout of $10 billion from the Senate. It's not like Jeff Bezos, who owns it entirely, can't easily eat the cost and the investors can't move on to another project like the supposedly free market is supposed to do. Also, gentle reminder that Jeff Bezos gained $75 billion in 2020 alone. But Jeff Bezos is not the only rich asshole we're going to talk about today. There's this one from the internet about Daniel Schwartz, the CEO of the corporation that owns Tim Hortons. Over the past 9 years, he's been paid $250 million, but when the minimum wage went up to $14, Tim Hortons cut paid breaks, sick leave, and other benefits for its workers. A full-time Tim Hortons worker would have to work for 8,500 years to make what Schwartz was paid. But the corporation still refuses to guarantee Tim Hortons workers paid breaks. And they did this as a fuck you to workers for getting a modest raise that still doesn't really cover expenses in many parts of the country, especially if you live in a big city like Toronto or Vancouver. The level of greed is unconscionable, and arguably what CEOs do, robots could do. So where's the automation for that? Instead, I had to see, and I saw this for the first time last night, because, now we got the TV and stuff all set up. We saw this weird ad from Domino's Pizza about driverless delivery. Order these 2 medium pizzas. And there's this little robot car that brings pizza to your doorstep, and you go out and you take it, and I'm not surprised, but, this is once again another job that's being cut from the service industry that people love to say, well, my first job was in the service industry, and, well, these jobs are going away, so how are people going to get their first jobs without putting themselves into massive debt? You see how all this can sort of start to become a really crippling problem? And then finally, there's this story. Now, this story is something that I'm going to actually talk a bit more about in a future episode at some point, hopefully in the near future. It was this story on Twitter last week about this girl who had she's a ninth grade student, and she had her yearbook photo photoshopped. And people were saying, wait, what? And like, it legit took me a minute of trying to look like what and click on a photo. Oh, well, like, is there something offensive on her shirt or something? I could not figure it out for nearly a solid minute before I realized, oh, a little bit of her cleavage was showing. So they had to Photoshop to make it more modest. And then as the local news team that first reported on this did more digging, they found that over 80 yearbook photos, all of girls, were edited by a St. Johns County high school employee. Now, many of the Photoshop jobs are absolutely atrocious and terrible. But it's also really telling that it was the women who had, well, I shouldn't even say women, these girls, teenage girls who had their photos edited. But the boys in Speedos on their beach trip, that's fine. But women showing their shoulders and, like, God forbid, anything lower than this part of the neckline had to be Photoshopped. And like bare shoulders, no, way too much for this employee. But this photo, acceptable. These are totally fine in the yearbook. Also fine. This one though, no, can't do it. Have to Photoshop it. It is all just so ridiculous. That's really the theme of this week, is ridiculousness and just this overwhelming sense of exasperation at what the world and society keeps throwing at us. Rich assholes getting free billions from the government and just absolutely hammering the poor and punishing them for having just a little bit more money, and punishing young girls for no reason other than your own weird, like, who knows what this employee was thinking at this high school. The automation of even more service industry jobs and entitled douchebags on rural bike trails. It's just so frustrating. It's not one of those things that is absolutely important to cover, which is why none of these really got their own single video. But it's just another testament to how much stuff, big and small, is out there that really shouldn't be in our society. And yet, here it was, all in 1 week. And that's what's bothering me today.